Greetings and welcome to the Halloween edition of the Sliders Review. And I'm here today to talk to you about Child's Play, the 1988 movie. So this is what started it all when it came to that of the Chucky franchise. And I finally got to see this movie about a month or two ago when they had it on YouTube, free with ads and stuff. And what got me into Chucky, like I said before, was the television series. Season one is very, very, very good. So then I went back to see just how this all started, and I was very surprised and pleased and everything. The movie is really good. Don Mancini created one of the most interesting psychological thrillers of all time. That's what it was back then. It wasn't a slasher movie back then. The first two installments is more of a psychological thriller. And then after that, it became slasher movies. And then after that, it became dark humor. It stars that of Catherine Hicks as Karen Barclay, Andy's mother. She has not shown up since the first movie. It says that she is in an insane asylum. I don't understand why she's never been brought back. What happened? There had to been something that happened that made her character go away. Probably behind the scenes. It stars Alex Vincent as Andy. And oh my god, dude, he was so adorable back then. He was he's still a good actor today, but he was so good as just a child actor and everything. You really believe that, dude. And of course, it introduced us to Brad Dorff, the voice of Charlie Lee Ray, aka Chucky, and everything. Now, I'm not sure what started the whole craze of killer dolls, but Chucky is probably the most famous one of them all. And the concept of a killing living doll is just mind boggling, you know what I'm saying? And without Chucky, we wouldn't have movies like Annabelle, Megan, not even Slappy from R.L. Stein's Goosebumps or Lily D from R.L. Stein's The Haunting Hour. Chucky literally paved the way for all those things to happen. And it is quite a shame that it did get very campy towards the end, I heard, to where they had to do some reboots and remakes and then bring the franchise back in the television show and stuff like that. But Don Mancini he was a genius for this movie. Whoever would have thought about that? Literally nobody would ever suspect that a psychopathic killer a serial killer at that, would be hiding out inside a child's plaything. Because who's gonna want to believe a little 5-year-old boy? Nobody. They just assume he's playing pretend. And that right there is just genius all on its own. And this is why a lot of people love 80s and 70s horror, because it was so original back then. Now everything's just copy and paste and trying to be new, but it's hard to be new. That's one of the greatest things about Saw. Saw was very interesting and very original. And so the story of Child's Play, which is funny, is called Child's Play because now everything's called Chucky this and Chucky that. But it's basically about a man named Charles Rayleigh, and he is just a criminal, and he is a serial killer, and he's on the run from the cops. And it's nice foreshadowing that they did to show that, hey, how things came to be. But when you're watching this movie, you're not quite sure what you're watching because it is so original. At first, it just seems like a man is being chased by the cops, and then he ends up getting killed. But then he starts saying this weird incantation, voodoo and everything, and you see the lightning and this and that, but you're not quite sure what the world is going on. He died in a toy store where a bunch of what is it called? Good Boy dolls or whatever. A Good Boy doll is basically like an I Love Buddy doll. So it's this kid, his name is Andy. He's fixing himself some cereal like a kid does. He fixes too much. He lives with his single mom. You know, she's struggling and everything. She has to get babysitters. She's trying to make ends meet. It's your typical 80 movie, 80 style smash mouth in your face type thing. You know, the story progresses very quickly and everything. You have to keep up. And so he wants a good boy doll. I think that's what it's called, good boy doll. And they're very expensive and they're sold out. Weirdly enough, she finds one from like a homeless man selling them out from behind the store. But she buys it and everything. And she gives it to her son and he loves it to death. And so now I knew what to expect. But if I was watching this for the first time, I wouldn't know what to expect. And neither did viewers. All of a sudden, he kept like he'll be in one position and then next thing you know, like the TV would come on. And it's like, but who turned on the TV? Ain't nobody in the living room except for like a doll. Viewers had no idea what the world was going on. And it was like little things here and there. And it's kind of like, wait, is this doll alive or is he not? And you know, he has this little like child sounding voice and everything, and talking about like, "Hi, I'm Chucky. I'm your friend for life," and everything. And you just assume it's a little doll. But then all of a sudden, he reveals himself to be a living doll. Of course, Andy is thrilled and everything. But then bad stuff starts to happen. People start dying. You start to see the little doll pushing people out a window. You start to see him picking up a kitchen knife and everything. And it's like, what the world is going on? How is this doll able to do that? Well, of course, Andy's pissed, scared, telling his mom and telling the police, but nobody wants to believe him because he is that of a little like 5-year-old boy and stuff. And you know, Chucky's making him do certain things. It makes him take him downtown, catching the bus, all this other crap. And he has to do what Chucky wants, so Chucky will kill his behind. And so it takes a good while for like the mom to believe what her son's been saying this entire time, as her son is gone like missing and stuff. And you know, um but then, you know, they're able to find the boy, and then, you know, she tries to tell the detective. The detective is your typical grumpy detective man who doesn't want to believe a single mother and everything. But then at some point, he starts to believe her, as Chucky at some point is trying to take him out. And, you know, Chucky does not want to be revealed to the public because he has like the best gig ever. He can kill a bunch of people as he wants and pose as that as of a little doll. But Chucky isn't necessarily satisfied. He still wants like a human body, but he can't have his because his is in the grave. And so he goes to the man who taught him voodoo and everything. And so he tells them plain and simple, the more your spirit is taking over, that's because like when Chucky got hurt, the doll started to bleed and he's very shocked and surprised by this. Like, how is this happening? Well, as long as your spirit stays in whatever thing it's in, it's gonna take it over and he's gonna turn into like a living doll, you know what I'm saying? And so I forget something else that has to do with Andy, like in some way they're kind of bonded, kind of not, but basically I think something about like he has to transfer his soul over to whoever owns like, you know, the doll and everything like that. And he thinks it's funny. He thinks, I'm gonna be he's 6, not 5. He's all like, I'm gonna live my life as a 6-year-old boy again. And like he's like this, like it's weird. He's this crazed killer, but he thinks that's funny and everything. So of course he kills Voodoo Dude, so he'll never have to redo what he did and tell somebody else. But the mom starts to believe, you know, that the doll is alive when the doll is talking and moving, but the batteries are not in. And so, you know, with the help of like the police officer and like, you know, Andy and all of them, at some point they do defeat Chucky and stuff. I forget how. I've only seen this once and I watched this like 2 months ago. But I'm just now talking about it. And so, like, you assume Chucky's dead, like his soul is lingering on somewhere else. But of course, as we all know, in the second movie, he just finds a substitute and everything. Now, I did start to watch the second movie at some point in time, but I stopped watching it because I was busy. And then when I went to go watch it again, they took it off the app. So I'm like, crap, I still don't know what the second or third movie is about. I think Bride of Chucky is on Tubi, I think. I don't know if I really want to watch it, not because I prefer to watch the second one, the third first, but you gotta do what you gotta do sometimes and stuff. And so, yeah, I still think Don Mancini created one of the most fascinating characters of all time. Like, seriously, who is gonna believe a 6 year old boy? Like nobody and stuff. Because you gotta imagine, what if this was real? You would never believe your kid, like, never. And it's insane